Good morning, everyone. This is the first call for Kubeflow SDK and ML Experience Working Group. Super exciting to start these calls. Just a reminder, this meeting will be recorded and published on YouTube. This meeting is governed by the CNCF Code of Conduct. Welcome, everyone. Super exciting to start this session and these calls with Kubeflow community. I think we've been discussing this for quite some time to have a dedicated session for folks who want to speak about how we can streamline the AI practitioner experience, how we can make it easier for them to interact with Kubeflow APIs. And for this, we created multiple initiatives like Kubeflow SDK, the Jupyter-based extensions, and other topics we want to talk about. So basically, on these calls, we want to see how we can improve the experience of using Kubeflow tools and Kubeflow projects, and what are the kind of challenges that data scientists and ML engineers have. So before we, spending maybe 5 minutes for, new people who just give, introduction for themselves, either do you want to add something um, from your side?
Yeah, I'm speaking on mute. I'm super happy to have everybody here. Yeah, it's a long time that we're discussing this, Andre, and Stephanie, and myself, and finally seeing this happening is great.
All right. So then I guess let's maybe give like 5 minutes for anyone who just introduce themselves and want to say hello, maybe new for the community. Feel free to unmute yourself or use chat to say hi.
I can start. Yeah, my name is Eder. I work for Red Hat on web IDEs and tools. I am the architect for a big team, and one of our biggest open source projects that we collaborate with the community is Kubeflow. My work is mostly in Model Registry and Kubeflow and Kubeflow notebooks, and now with the machine learning experience that I'm working with sometime with Stefano and Amrit. And I see the need for the Kubeflow to have an end-to-end experience for data scientists that connects all the working groups. And that's why we started to have this conversation here. And I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, I can go next. Um, so hi everyone, I'm Stefano from Italy. I've been collaborating with the Kubeflow community for quite a few years. Currently, I'm working at Canonical as a product manager. Um, I've always been very interested in user experience overall, especially in ML platforms. Actually, Kale, the project we're going to talk about, was something we were working on with my previous company a few years ago. Then we abandoned the project. So I'm very excited to see this coming back and playing a role in this working group as well.
I can go next. Hi everyone, my name is Anya. I work with Red Hat. I work on Kubeflow developer experience team. So currently I'm contributing to Kubeflow SDK and trainer. I'm really excited that we are getting started with this new working group.
I'll jump in. Andy Stoneberg, also with Red Hat, fairly new to the Kubeflow community. I guess not that new anymore. Doing a lot of work with Kubeflow notebooks. I am excited about this effort and undertaking here to bring this, kind of consolidation, not just in kind of, the notebook space, but really this experience across, various different channels. So I see the overlap there. For the short term, I'll probably be more so a passive participant, but definitely look forward in the future to get, really invested in this and to help out anywhere I can. So look forward to see where we take it.
I will continue. Oh, Amrit, yeah, you go you first. Then I will raise my hand.
Sure. Hey, I'm Amrit here. I've been contributing with the community since last 3 months under the GSOC opportunity, and I've been usually working with with Stefano and Eda on the Kubeflow Kale project, where we are trying to create the Jupyter Lab extensions for it. And initially, I've previously worked on the Kubeflow side of things, and this was the opportunity which I thought like it is the best for me to contribute and how to uh, modularize as well as make the development lifestyle easier for the data scientist people. So that's how I got selected for it and started contributing to the project as well. Thank you.
Okay, I will jump in. Thank you, Andre. So I'm Adriel Paredes. I'm from Argentina. I've been working on Red Hat for a few years now with Heather and the guys. I'm the manager for the IDE tools and notebooks team. So I participated also together with Andy on the notebooks 2.0 stage, not as a developer, but just to try to unblock things for the guys. I'm really working UI tools and tools in general for some time now, and I'm really happy we are going to make also a Joomla Lab a first class citizen for this project. With it's very much needed for the community. So I'm glad to participate with all of you.
I can go next. I'm Hannah. I'm in Boston and I'm on Adriel's team, and I'm pretty new to Red Hat. I was working as a data scientist in the past, and I'm very new to Kubeflow and everything. So I'm sort of learning, but hoping to maybe provide a data science perspective a little bit. And I'm excited to meet you all.
It's great. Anyone else?
I think I can go next. My name is William. I've been working for Red Hat as well on AWS team and on OpenShift AI IDE team. Currently working to maintain Elira and also a few other extensions, and happy to be part of this group.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear actually.
I'm Akshay. I work in the notebooks team within Apple, where we offer notebooks as a service, Jupyter Notebooks service for all data scientists and ML engineers. I've been part of the Kubeflow community for the past 1 year or so, where we're building the cache to accelerate data loading for ML training. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks, actually. Anyone else? Yeah, go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, sorry. Brian, yeah, I'm another Red Hatter. I work on the same team as Anya in developer experience area. And yeah, made a couple of small contributions to the SDK and hoping to get more involved in the future.
Thank you. Yeah, Harshad.
Hi everyone, I'm Harshad. I'm working with Andy and everyone else for Notebook 2.0. Just wanted to say hi.
Yeah, it's great. Thanks for joining us, Harshad. All right, I think everyone just, maybe I can also introduce myself. So my name is Andre. I think I worked with most of you, but I see new folks here on the call. But I've been in the Kubeflow community since 2018. Like when we started, I've been developing a T project, also been working on training operator, in many other projects within the ecosystem. Right now in the steering committee, trying to see how we can improve the experience for AI practitioners to run AI workloads on Kubernetes, and involved in many different aspects to improve AI and ML on top of Kubernetes. Yeah, I think like the purpose of this call is, as I mentioned in the beginning, is to like within the Kubeflow, like it's been a kind of always a problem for us how to enhance the science experience, because usually those two ecosystems, they separate. The people who building the PyTorch code, the people who developing models, they kind of like not really familiar with Kubernetes APIs, and like they always been struggling to provide them the like the best and the optimal experience for them to interact with all those advanced tools within the platform, within the Kubeflow platform. And I think like starting this multiple initiatives around Jupyter based experience or Python based experience, I think this is what we want to do for the long term, and I think this is what we heard from data scientists. And I really want folks like, I think like you, Hannah, like join these calls to especially share your perspective, like the people who building the models, the people who developing the models, and more on the data science part. We definitely need more feedback from all of you to tell us what are the problems today to using the existing platforms, where it is the vendor platforms or raw Kubernetes or wherever like we have an industry, so we can streamline this experience. So again, the goal is to abstract Kubernetes away from all of you, so you don't need to even know that this run on top of Kubernetes. So like for me, like as actually said, that we work in a notebooks team, like we work with many data scientists here at Apple, and what we hear from them, again, they just want a simple interface, like a Jupyter based or like IDE based, and they don't want to even leave this interface, and they want to have all those advanced tools around their experience within the same UI, so they don't have an ability to switch or to learn new things, and just focusing on the ML code rather than focusing on infrastructure complexity. So yeah, with that, maybe go over like the agenda items. I know we have few things to talk about today. Let me share my screen a second. Yeah, so I think that first of all, like these calls, I think we would try to start to them having them be weekly on Wednesday at 3 p.m. UTC, which is like 8 a.m. Pacific time. Let's see how it goes for everyone who is interesting to talk about it. But for now, like let's meet weekly, and we will work with community to see if we can add this to the Kubeflow calendar, this official meeting. Also, as a reminder, we have like the Slack channel, like the Kubeflow ML experience. We try to see like we can use this Slack channel for now. Also, we have like other channels like Kubeflow Trainer, where we discuss the SDK. Also, have like pipelines. So I kind of like my expectation for this working group to like work across multiple Kubeflow projects and be like everywhere, because like the goal of SDK is to provide unified experience. The goal I think for Kale or other projects within Jupyter is to interact with Kubeflow projects. So we still need to like have cross work relationship and cross maintainers effort to make this as a reality, right? But feel free to join this Slack channel and also add this event to your calendar if you want to join us. Yeah, so go over the items. I guess like Annie, you want to give maybe a quick introduction for SDK, like and what we've been working on, right? So maybe we can go like these items to talk about it first.
Yeah, sure. Should I share the screen?
Yeah, if you want, you can share it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you should see that now.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, so we are working on Kubeflow SDK, and I just want to take you through what is Kubeflow SDK, why we're working on that, and what's ahead. Yeah, so the idea of Kubeflow SDK is that we want to build a unified Python SDK that makes it super easy for AI practitioners to interact with different Kubeflow projects. So right now, if you want to use different Kubeflow projects, you need to deal with different APIs, with different SDKs, understand Kubernetes. And we want to address all of this complexity so AI practitioners can focus on building machine learning applications with consistent APIs and across Kubeflow ecosystem. So where we are right now, we have migrated Kubeflow Trainer to the unified SDK. So currently you can you can train your models within unified SDK. To do that, you just pip install the SDK, you provide your train function, and then you create the train job over here. You provide the runtime that has been created previously with platform administrators. And yeah, this is pretty straightforward. You can see the logs using Unified SDK over here. Yeah, so we have migrated Trainer SDK, but this is not where we stop. And we plan to migrate more SDKs in the Unified SDK. The next ones are Kati pipelines, model registry, and more Kubeflow projects are in our roadmap as well. Yeah, so we are getting really close to the first Kubeflow SDK release. We plan to release Kubeflow SDK version 0.1 soon-ish. Initially, we will have Trainer SDK there. But also we are currently working on the local execution mode. That's something that we're very excited about because you will be able to train your models locally with no Kubernetes cluster at all. So you will be able to train your models with subprocesses or Podman or Docker. Yeah, I know that Brian, he's on the call. If you wanna say anything about local execution mode, because he's working on that as well.
Yeah, thanks, Anya. Yeah, just to say the SAD actually is working on kind of a framework for it. I think that's close to being merged, and he's also working on subprocess as the first backend, as it's referred to. And once that's merged, I'm planning on adding support for Docker and Podman. So hopefully that'll come soon.
Exactly. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, so we are very excited to work on that. And then let me also take you through really quick through the roadmap. I know that we have talked about that previously on the calls, but just to give folks an idea of what's ahead. So currently we are focusing on releasing Kubeflow SDK 0.1 to PyPy. We also want to include Kubeflow SDK in the KubeP requirements that will help with the adoption because KubeP has the largest user base. We also have already implemented the CI jobs for Kubeflow SDK, such as unit tests and end-to-end tests. Also on our roadmap, we have the generated docs. So we plan to have one website for docs for Kubeflow SDK, where we'll have all others SDKs as well. So we will create the CI jobs that will automatically generate those docs and upload it to the Read the Docs website. Yeah, regarding Trainer, we have already migrated Trainer SDK. And as we mentioned, we are working on the local execution mode. Also, currently you can only use one cluster with training jobs, and Trainer SDK relies on the kubeconfig. So ideally, we would love to address that to allow to use multi-cluster environment. Regarding this one, snapshot users workspace, currently you can only upload one individual Python function to the train job, and we want to have the opportunity to capture and reproduce the entire development workspace in the train job. Also, I know Akshay. Yeah, he's working on distributed data cache configuration for Trainer SDK. And also currently we support Torch2 config for built-in trainer, which has been deprecated. So we are looking at implementing more configs for built-in trainers. And then, as I mentioned, that we plan to migrate more SDKs to our unified SDK. Yeah, I think that's it. If you have any questions, please feel
Yeah, I
free
think
to ask.
one of the good questions Stefan asked in the chat, who owns the SDK? Yeah, like actually we discussed this as part of the CAP in a couple of months ago. I think ideally we want to all of the Python-based experience live in this SDK. But the question, because working groups owns the code, right? It's hard to see, for us to like identify owners. So couple of kind of ideas, right? Like we can have sub. So how this SDK is structured initially, in I think we discussed this in the CAP again, as I said, like we have different clients for every project. So we have a client for trainer, we're gonna have a client for pipelines, we're gonna have a client for KTIP, which means like these clients separated by the packages. So we also been discussing previously whether we want to have like a PyPy sub packages. So which means like you don't need to install everything, you can install only trainer or only pipelines, right? But eventually, yes, some cross changes will be required, right? Because you might have some utility functions, right? Some things can be shared. So who will be the owners, right? So I think like so initially we can start to see how it goes during the migration, but my expectation this should be kind of cross community effort, right? And all of the working groups should be part of the owners, right? Like from each working group we can define one owner who like one like root approver, and then they can have like a subfolder owners as well, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, so just to clarify, you do expect the actual code to be migrated under this
Yes,
repository,
like
the entire SDK code for each and every working group.
KFP. So the trick is with KFP because KFP is the larger, like consumer of actually like the biggest package I think we have right around maybe a few million downloads per month. Probably I might be wrong, but there are a lot of people who are using KFP as a package, right? And eventually we want a KFP to be migrated to the Kubeflow SDK. So people install Kubeflow and have like this end-to-end experience where they can use, only pipelines or they can use other tools. Because I think it's like with these separate clients, they don't need to actually install everything to use SDK, right? They can maybe install a KFP and still use KFP within Kubeflow SDK using the pipelines client. And I think we have this agreement with, folks from Google, with folks from Red Hat, who like the KFP maintainers, that they kind of agree that the client side of Kubeflow pipelines can also be migrated to the Kubeflow SDK. Because right now it's kind of separated. The backend, I'm talking about backend side of Kubeflow pipelines and the front end side, like the SDK side, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Anya.
Yeah, just quickly on that. I think we might also consider just importing the SDK, for example, the model registry, because that might be quite complicated to fully migrate the SDK in terms of other Kubeflow projects preferences. So yeah, we'll need to have these discussions with different teams on that.
Yeah, and I think what is important, like we need to understand what API we want to expose, right? I think we talked a little bit about it before, but for model registry or Feast or wherever we decide like which APIs we want to migrate, like what data scientists actually need, right? Because like model registry would make sense for them with other type of jobs, right? They maybe want to promote their models to the inference, right? And so maybe they want to put export the final model from KFP from the pipeline to the registry when the pipeline is complete. So we need to talk with model registry folks to understand like what APIs that the scientists actually require, right? And what we want to expose as part of the public APIs, right? Yeah, but anyway, other questions for this?
Can I just follow up on that one, Andre? So the model registry have their SDK client SDK already, and I guess the question about what data scientists want from that SDK is it not identical within the Kubeflow SDK, like regardless of where they're using it, right? So the API should be exposed in the same way, no? Regardless of it.
Yeah, let me ask you a question. So how today data scientists use model registry SDK in their pipelines?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure of that, but I do know that like model registry have a generated client based on their RESTful API, and then they build their SDK kind of on top of that. And the SDK that they build on top of that is based on feedback that they get from users to say, it would be nice to have this utility and that utility on top of the basic generated client. So it seems that they have that kind of level of engagement already, and there's people from the model registry on the course that are probably much better placed to talk about this than me. So yeah, the point being that I would think that the usage of the AP of the SDK would be similar, like in a standalone context, as in a unified SDK context, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, I think the question, do we want to expose the model registry client to the end user, right?
You're right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe I think that makes sense. I think after the first release, we can definitely talk about it and see how we, what type of API we, users actually want to have, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's still a bit tricky, right? Even like for KFP, right? Pipelines, from my understanding, users can start with, simple training job. For this, they don't need KFP at all. They can, create the PyTorch job. They can, verify that everything is working. Or they can do even parameter optimization, like without even, using Kubeflow pipelines, right? They can train their models, optimize the hyperparameters. If they want to build a complex pipeline, for example, they want to have multiple, models being trained in a sequence, or maybe they want to do training plus evaluation, right? So, and unless they want to have like a stitch these pieces together, they want to build a pipeline, right? So for this, yes, they can use the KFP because KFP give you the ability to, stitch multiple stages in life cycle together, right? Like training, serving, it could be data preparation with Spark, right? Even like, when we want to combine Spark with training, yes, you need to use KFP to stitch these pieces together. Yeah, but anyway, I think like we can talk about it later. Let's maybe follow up on, on these topics and once we have like the first release and maybe talk about, like the roadmap on including other things. All right, so I think for the release, again, like I think local execution needs to be merged. I think I need to still review the PR from Sat, right? Like this PR definitely needs to be reviewed. I think Sat already kind of refactored this to support other backends, sort of like support multiple backends within local execution, right? I think like one of the important topic we're going to talk about, do we have any breaking changes before release 0.1, especially breaking changes in the API?
I think local execution mode and this PR that Brian has been working on to use dictionary and backend to pass trainer function arguments. Yeah, so we'll need to update the examples of trainer with the changes.
It's 62, right?
Yeah. I have also created, I don't know if you've seen the issue in Kubeflow SDK with the PRs that we'll need to merge before the first release.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's in the release issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I think like also the packages to or the pip index URLs needs to be refactored, right? Because we need to change it to the list from argument, right?
Okay.
So yeah, and can you create an issue for us to track it? Yeah, then, we can at least track it. That we need to have it a milestone. I think we also need to. So we have the team. We probably need to have create a team for Kubeflow SDK, so you can add the milestones. I know right now this command doesn't work for you. Like for the people who the actually maintainers of SDK, we need to create a team similar to Kubeflow trainer team, so you can add the milestone there. We make it to do item here. GitHub team.
Yeah. So sorry, what's the relation between
like the thing is like the milestone right now, like we can add the milestone with the command, right? /milestone 0.1.
Yeah.
But this won't work for people who are not member of this team because we have like the internal ACLs which been set up only for the specific team, which gives you like the permission to apply the milestone. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm talking about this milestone 0.1, right?
So
you can basically mark the issues to the milestone if you want to add them. Just easier to track them, right?
Yep.
All right, so other things, I think, job logs. I will create an issue for this, but I think this API also needs to be refactored because I think, so for now, it's kind of like unclear how to use it from the user perspective. I will probably follow up this in the issue, but the problem is with get job logs, we do have the node rank and we also have step. And sometimes since we have like, identify model initializer and data set initializer as a step, it's tricky for user to really understand whether they want to use node rank or they want to use just a step parameter for this. And this API is kind of like, I would say, not really well structured from the return, what actually it returns as well. So anyway, I can propose something in the issue. We can talk about it later. I will create an issue for this. Okay, so other things. So Shahar, do you want to talk about Spark Client? I don't know if he's on the call. Yeah, I don't see Shehar. I think it's about like how we can include Spark jobs within SDK. Maybe we can follow up for this. All right. So about so Dirash, are you here? Yeah, I don't see him here as well. Okay. Yeah, maybe these two topics we can follow up for this discussion around Spark clients and Databricks.
Yeah, I can move them for the next call.
Okay.
Later.
Anything else? So Kubeflow Jupyter images, right? Yeah, this we need to do for notebooks images, right?
Yep, I added this one.
Can you create an issue for this header?
Yep. On the SDK, right? Or on the notebooks?
Yeah, we can do it in SDK. It's fine.
Yeah, I think I can do an SDK, and as soon as you do this, I can help and this here as well.
All right. Yeah, Andy, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, around this point, right? We're in this like weird intermediate state right now on these example notebook images, just to kind of call it out on where we're going to release them from as we've moved the code to notebooks v1 branch. We just need to kind of sort that out in terms of timing if we want to make updates and release from Kubeflow, or wait for that v1 migration to complete. Kimonos is back and we're discussing what the plan is around how that will work.
All right. So you mean like how you're going to maintain the notebooks images, right?
Right, yeah, we just haven't had like a new release of them. And so if we want to add new stuff to release them, it's, do we use Kubeflow? And then if we want to use the Kubeflow notebooks where it lives now, we need to sort out all the, which image registry are we going to use to publish and yada, yada, yada.
Yep, that makes sense. Yeah. So like I don't know if you want to include this in V1, right? Is the question, I guess, to notebooks for
That's what we moved it for now, but the server images or the notebook, images require some separate stuff. So I imagine either one of my coworkers from Red Hat or Kimonos will get some issues opened up for community discussion like imminently, early next week, I'm hoping, so we can kind of lock in and know what we're doing here.
Yeah, can you follow up on this and maybe on the notebook call and this sort of stuff, because I'm ready to do a presentation and we are also all the time.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, let's talk about then K. Like, any other follow-up question for ZK? Okay. Yeah, so for K, either like Stefan, do you want to share your screen or you just want to talk about it?
Yeah, I think we can quickly call. Stefan, do you want to talk or should I?
Go ahead.
Yeah, we are working with a GSOC student that's under here for like two months already to set up the baseline for Jupyter extension. As we put on the document, I not reread everything that is on the working group. We are looking to have experience for the data science, be able to access everything in the Kubeflow without having to leave Jupyter. And Kale is a project that Stefano created the issue in the community that we should revamp Kale a few months ago, and we get a lot of traction. And then we decided to use Kale as our starting point because it's a nice use case, and that's why I proposed it for the GSOC student as a baseline for our extension. As soon as we have this, we are going to propose Stefano and myself to donate the Kale code for the Kubeflow. And later we can include the new use cases. I go for the next topic just to leave the room. For instance, one use case for the future is to add as the capability for training with the SDK. We should also add the job status and be able to reset jobs and visually on the extension. So we need to figure out synergy on the SDK and the Jupyter extension. So it's a bright step ahead, and I'm really excited. I'm really the one to present. And I'm really going to present the result of his GSOC program in the Kubeflow.
Yeah. Right. Cool. So this project was a joint effort with Stefano and Eda, especially, and somewhere around it took around 3 months for us to work upon it. But the main objective was to update and modernize the existing Kubeflow Kale project to be fully compatible with the new Kubeflow Pipelines version 2 architecture, which introduced significant changes to the SDK as well as the backend. And especially in the old way, what Kale used to do with KFP version 1 was it used to convert the annotated Jupyter notebooks into Kubeflow pipelines by passing through the notebook and converting it into Argo workflow style kind of YAML file. Uh, Limitations were quite a lot for the uh, actual user to work upon those YAML files, and it was completely tied to the KFP even SDK. And again, if if a data scientist doesn't really know much about the Argo workflows engine, then it used to create a lot of issues for them. But this process has been in, deprecated right now, and now with the new way, especially with KFP v2, we have the approach has changed a lot. Now the KFPV2 just introduced a more Python-centric approach where it has used some decorators like DSL component and DSL pipelines, and the YAML generation has been automated. So with the backend, the entire YAML generation has been decoupled pretty much with the KFP compliant backend. And a bit more metadata integration has been provided with especially MLMD integration for the artifacts and stuff. So that has been quite useful. And how we have rebuilt the Kale pipeline architecture was just to re-engineer the Kale backend by implementing a new templating system using Jinja 2 to convert those Jupyter notebooks into Python DSL scripts. And now the backend just generates a Python DSL script, then uses the KFPV2's SDK's compiler to generate the IR YAML file, and then upload that YAML file and run the compiled YAML as a pipeline on the KFP. Now, in this, the improvements which we have introduced in the Kale as well is the ML metadata integration as well. Like we have replaced the Marshall PVC, which we used to do beforehand, with the native KFP v2 artifact storage. And with those artifact systems, now KFP provides artifacts like model, dataset, metrics, and HTML artifacts as well, just to get a proper final, pretty good UI for it. And with the improved storage and performance has also improved for big uh, machine learning models. So now instead of using just local artifacts, it can use MinIO and S3 GCS natively. And yeah, so what we have actually tried to done is kind of work upon the front end on how users can select the experiment, provide a pipeline name, and just click and compile and run for it. And with the backend will successfully like translate the notebook into a pipeline. And you can see it in the standalone KFP UI itself. Now, this is some of the screenshots which I have added, and at the end as well, I'll show you a demo for it. But yeah, this is the new Kubeflow Kale where it just reads the notebook, and then you just have to click on fill up the experiment names, pipeline name, whatever you want, and then just click on the compile and run process for it. Now, key accomplishments which we have been able to figure out was the functional backend, especially with KFEV2. The front end panel is functional right now and can trigger the compilation and run process, even though it has some of the bugs which we are trying to complete them as well. But we managed to successfully got the backend PR merged. Somewhere we fixed approximately 250 to 300 front end and back end errors. It's validation errors, especially related with old TypeScript, React components, and new Material UI as well. And we have kind of created a document with a bug list for future work as well, which we can follow through. And yeah, that has been the key accomplishments. And this is the kind of pipeline run which we see for the components. and you can see how the data has been transferring through each and every component using the artifacts. And even in each components, we can see the input parameters for it, the output artifacts introduced from those components. So yeah, that has been the pipeline run. Now I would probably try to show you a demo for it. So yeah, so we've got a normal notebook, and we just go to a Kale, enable it. Yes, there are some warning messages which we are still trying to figure out. But yeah, if we just change any other pipeline, we can change it to any other name, put any other pipeline name as well, pipeline description, and just click on the compile and run. Well, yeah, turning pipeline, done. Now, if we go back to the Kubeflow Kale, and yeah, we've got the Iris pipeline too. I'll show you the pipeline as well. Yeah, that starts the pipeline entire architecture. Now, if we go to the experiments, we've got just a new experiment run. And if I go over here, it will take some time to start. But yeah, once this will start, it should show the proper execution for the entire execution of the pipeline. And now the Python generation, especially with the scripts and stuff, has changed a bit. So I was thinking probably I can show you that as well. So now it creates a Python-based kind of script automatically using the Jinja templates, where you just have to mention which function would be a component, and what packages do you want to install for that component, and you just have to mention what artifact type do you want to use for those variables as well. So just as like this one is the HTML, for the HTML report, we've got output HTML. For others, we've used output dataset, and these are just global parameters which we are passing through each and every function using the tagging system. But yeah, this is one such approach. And with the KFP2, now just to mention which would be the function for the entire pipeline architecture would be this. Just mention it as kfp.dsl.pipeline with the name and stuff, and it will just keep on generating what should be the execution step for each and every component itself. Uh, and yeah, using just the KFP's compiler, it gets converted into a YAML file. That's the YAML file which gets generated, and then we just upload the pipeline and run it. So let's see if there's any update into the Kubeflow pipeline side. Yeah, I believe it's still running, but yeah, if probably I can show you some other execution. But yeah, this is one of those execution where you just get the entire uh, execution with the proper visualization as well. You get the log messages for the key marshalling and what artifact it has generated with HTML report, and even in each and every component, you get what input parameters it used and what output artifacts it has generated. Yeah. So yes, that's the kind of contributions I've done through the GSOC course into the Kubeflow Kale project. And I believe let's go back to the slide. The next steps would be to just resolve the minor UI bugs and performance issues for the front end especially, and complete the comprehensive testing across different environments, finalize documentation and user guides, but and prepare for community release and adoption. And probably Eder can talk more about the long-term plan, but we wanna see the Kubeflow field project.
Yeah, the
So
back.
in
Yeah,
the backend,
we are hosting the code meanwhile in Kubeflow KO/KO while we clean up the repository for donation. The backend pull request from Ahmed is already merged, and the front end code that he showed is living in a branch called v2.0 frontend. And we mapped the
yeah,
issues already, and we are going to, as soon as we drop the call this afternoon, I will create issues that if you can scroll a little down, Amrit.
yeah,
If you
yeah,
scroll like these issues to cover, I will create GitHub issues for this. So in that way, anyone that can help us with the extension can also collaborate and help with the project. And yeah, and the next steps is to stabilize this and also release the first version of the KO. And then Stephanie and myself are going to work on the migrate on the donation from Kubeflow. And later we can set up the roadmap, for instance, to install to start with trainer or visualization of the pipelines for the next steps for the extension. Do you want to add something, Stefan?
No, I think you covered it all. I've also have a few items on my end to kind of clean up backend testing, some old deprecated code we're not using anymore, some GitHub actions and things like that. So overall, some code and process cleanup. But I think we'll get there pretty quickly.
I think we have a question from Akshay about parameterization, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you're referring to pipelines parameters, yes.
Yes.
No, Amrita didn't have too much time to go into the details of how it works, on how the annotations,
Yes,
how
got
Cable uses annotations to actually convert into a pipeline. But we can do it in another meeting, or part of the tasks is for me to also us to kind of
got
document this into an architecture diagram, something like that. So we'll
so yeah, yeah, it's a great demo. Probably once we have the detailed docs, probably we'll have more questions. But on top of mind, just have another question. Specifically, I see that we have pipeline being generated from a single notebook file itself. Right? Have you guys thought about of creating pipelines from multiple notebooks?
Yeah, not yet. Currently, the process is one notebook to one pipeline, but that doesn't
Mhm.
mean we can explore uh, generating a pipeline from multiple notebooks. Like the architecture itself, I think it's
Got it.
fairly flexible to that extent, and it's, it's doable. It's mostly
Mhm.
about defining what the user experience looks like.
Got it. And also, did you integrate with the Spark operator work within Kubeflow, let's say for data prep? Or
So
did you?
what's the
So,
question again?
so the question is, have you tried to integrate with Spark operator for like
not yet,
in a single
not yet.
pipeline?
Nope.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
makes
because
sense.
what we kind of see, and I think like this is what Elira is doing, this is what Jupyter Scheduler is doing. They kind of orchestrating pipelines as a notebooks because usually, um, yes, different platforms solve this differently, but usually like you attach the kernel to the notebook. Like I know Snowflake supports pair cell kernels, but usually the runtime slash kernel is attached to the notebook, which means like if you're attaching the Spark kernel to the notebook, you can basically, and you want to schedule it, the runtime which we'll use for this notebook will be Spark.
Yeah, so I think
Mhm.
the interesting part here in this currently the way it works is when you run the pipeline, so each of these steps indeed it's an individual part, right? So we're doing some sort of automated
Mhm.
processing of the code and the dependencies so that it can be split up. Dependencies are resolved within each step of the pipeline. The original code is run within a Python kernel. So you basically reproduce the same execution model. So I believe we have the opportunity to kind of embed running with the PySpark kernel or other kernels inside the pipeline steps themselves as well. It's just a matter of figuring out how the pieces would tie together. But that the current architecture, I think it definitely fit the kind of execution model.
Go ahead, Adrian.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ariel.
Yeah, so my question is more administrative. I know that you are looking for help. My team is, of course, very interested in contributing with this. So I would love to know how should we approach if we ping you in the CNCF to start like discussing about the. I know that Eder needs to create a few issues, but once you are there, like we would love to contribute and start like planning ourselves ahead.
Yeah, I think the what's the name of the channel again?
You have ML experience you may talk about. So
yeah, exactly. That one, the ML experience channel is the best place to discuss this.
Yeah, we can talk about it there, right? And I know we've been talking about also how we can, transfer the Kale under the Kubeflow organization, start a proposal around it, right? And talk about other things.
Andre, when I talk with Stefan on that, we need to do a lot of cleanup, and also I want to add to align KO with the standards from the CNCF that we are discussing in other working groups before proposing.
Okay, what do you mean by that exactly?
The open SSF badge, for instance.
It's not a direction needed because we're not graduating these projects, right, as part of the, Kubeflow.
But is not needed then?
Yeah, I mean, like, OpenSF batch, we only do this for 6 projects under, we don't even do this for SDK, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Easier then.
Yeah, like I think like we just have this, process of making projects as a Kubeflow project, right? Is an adoption. Like similar what we do for MCP server, for Spark history server, right? And what we've done for what is it? Spark operator. Yeah, but this process that Francisco was updating, right? Yeah, I think overall, so I think as we discussed on this front overall, like your goal is to give some sort of POC to the users and then design the long-term goal of how we can,
Exactly. We want to have a release of K with the baseline, basically a way to use the notebooks and execute, and then create the roadmap for the future.
Yeah, because like I would love, folks from Lyra team also to be here.
Exactly.
And
I think the moment when they're asking about the question about actually that about having multiple notebooks aligning in a pipeline, this is the moment that we need to talk with Jupyter Scheduler and Lyra to decide what's the best way to do this community together. Because it is basically the same problem, right?
Yeah, I don't think it will be one. I mean, as part of this working group, I don't expect to have one extension to address all the problems. Definitely will be like multiple Jupyter extensions that, maintainers have to build. Yeah, and we kind of like, we cannot say, Kale will address all the, use cases, right? Because I imagine it will be like much more interesting extensions we can build, right? Within Jupyter context.
No, yes.
All right, so I know we're almost at time. So any last questions, comments? Yeah, I think this is great. Again, I mean, it's a huge, congrats to you to make this work for V2. I think this is amazing. Many folks really, looking for, having this working for pipelines V2, and I think this is great to have it working. So let's definitely follow up and see how we can enable this and release it as part of the, some of the notebooks images as well. So, super exciting for this. All right, thanks everyone. Then I guess let's follow up in Slack, and in the meantime, I guess for the release, we can also, do the follow-up discussions async. To release the first version on the piping, right?
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. I guess.
Thank you, guys.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.